Hello and welcome. Well, I'm Rowan if you're new here, and every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live with a spiritual panel. So please feel free if you want to jump up today. Sorry, need some chapstick. To jump up on panel if you want to talk about any experiences or how you actually deal with trolls. That's right. Today's topic is trolls. And I'm just going to actually deal with trolls. That's right. Today's topic is trolls. And I'm just going to share and have like a fun, just going to share and have like a fun to discuss is how to deal with trolls. So, welcome, Bryn.
I
brought my troll baby too.
And I brought this. Hold on, let me turn my camera on. Just in case, a good whack.
Sometimes we do need to whack them. So we've got whacks, we've got trolls, we've got happy little trolls. So yeah, my friend makes these cute trolls, and don't we wish they were all this adorable? So I own a lot, but this was my custom troll. She's my spirit doll. So welcome to everybody. So it is spiritual panel. This is a spiritual safe place, and our topic. Yeah. And our topic tonight is trolls, because we see them, I know the term really comes from, people who troll people online, but what better term to even talk about, Karens or just, people who are not so nice, and the best ways to deal with them. Yeah, so I guess we can start with share any experiences. Let's start with experiences. Because I don't think there's anybody in this world that has not had an experience with a troll. Unless maybe you're like a newborn infant.
Well, I'll start off with one. Now, let's just say a few years back, there was this hissy fitter that was like trolling and like going at my comments section on YouTube. And lo and behold, this dimwit, because I'm saying that because the shoe fits, he thought it'd be cute to find a way to get a hold of my phone number and then send me messages that are kind of a little bit not so nice and a little bit like, oh, that looks like something that law enforcement can be called upon. That's okay, we'll go that route then. But ultimately, what I ended up doing is that I essentially, hold on, I actually have the text messages right here. Hold on. Hang on. This thing's loading as fast as molasses going down the jar. But anyway, so this, actually here, I found it. Like here. So this is what the first message they sent me. Your worst nightmare has come to life. You don't tell my hubby shit. I will send people your way personally. We found you, now you pay. My hubby is forgiving, I'm not. I have a whole reptilian army. This is how I responded. Oh, hello, honey bear. Oh, I had a hunch it was you. No, I'm not who you think I am. We found you, it's over. Typical fangirl, fanboy, typical. You're just angry because... You're just angry. He's the other me and I'm the other him, so now you're facing the female side. And? You're screwed. Besides, I'm not even mad. I'm nice and cool and collected. I don't know about you, though. And the conversation just kept going on and on and on and on. And that's kind of like the way you have to go against people like that. Not letting them affect you and get under your skin. and at least the way that I like to go about it is like I'm essentially giving them what they want, but in a way where it's just like, okay, what's your point? You kind of stayed in the obvious here. Come on, what's your point? Letting them have it, but with a twist.
It amazes me that some of the people just keep going, and you're like, wow, do you not have a life?
Yep, it's like, I hope you realize that every second you're giving me is something you can never get back. You're making me feel so important. And I mean, I don't know what I've done to appreciate, like, to get that, but I mean, thanks, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and it is interesting because everybody does handle it differently. Like, okay, so I sometimes watch true crime, and there's a group that's following and supporting somebody who unalived their mother, and then them. And I will tell you, the group that is supporting the person who unalived their mother, like, it just amazes me. They literally will put people's names and phone numbers and addresses out, and like they keep taking it to a further level, and I'm like, what did they do to you? Like, they're just, you know, it is kind of amazing how some people react.
It just makes you think, like, of all the things you could be doing with your time, it's doing something like this. Heck, I mean, you could have taken that skill and, use it for good, but what do I know? That's none of my business.
Right. Well, and I had, like, I post events online, and I do in-person and virtual events, like rituals. And I actually had, like, a really weird person reply to my event. It was supposed to be an in-person moon ritual. I can't remember if it was full moon or new moon. And they were literally threatening me because I practice paganism, and it was against their Christian beliefs. And I was like, wow. And so we changed the location. I messaged everybody. I said, I'm changing the location for safety reasons, because you don't know what kind of kooks they are. You don't know, like, with all the weird stuff we see in the news. But come to find out, I found out from probably about, I think it was like 6 or 7 other people in the community who also post rituals. They got the exact same threatening message. And some of them were here in my state, and then some of them were in different states. And I'm like, okay, I blocked the person, reported the person, and I was like, no, because, like, you don't know what, like, that can actually be a safety issue for anybody going to a ritual. So, now I take more safety precautions, because you don't know what kind of people they are out there. But yeah, there's a lot of really creepy trolls out there.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, usually most of the time when they come in hissy fitting like that, I mean, I just like to throw a good old one of these at them. Okay, Larry, hit the button. Larry, hit the button. Oh, you're killing me, hamster. Hamster, come on now. This is why you don't hire hamsters to be...
Look at your browsing history.
Okay, let's try that again. Okay, Larry. 3, 2... The heck, dude? Larry, you're fired this morning. Nope. Hold on. This thing's not doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. No excuses. Okay, here we go. I just throw this at him. Take 3, go. What the heck, man? That's it. You know what? Here, wait. Okay, hold on. Technical bloody difficulties. Okay, stop. Okay.
It's giving, let me see your phone and look at your browsing history.
What the heck, man? Okay, hold on. Anyway, it was supposed to be like a... Oh, wait, here we go. Okay.
It's giving closet. It's giving blank profile on Grindr. It's giving fruit salad. It's giving, let me see your phone and look at your browsing history. It's giving closet.
Yep.
That reminds me of, the telemarketers that used to, like, when you had landlines, how they'd always call at dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one of my kids could burp, like, whenever they wanted to. And I was just like,
oh, we don't know this number. I'm like, it's probably a telemarketer. And they're like, I got it, mom. And they would just like, the person would start their spiel and and my kid would just keep burping like nonstop until they hung up. So like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, telemarketers are trolls too. So
Well, and then there's also this perspective too. Like, well, oh, and I mean, I saw this be done on like a TikTok. They got like a telemarketer call or a debt collection call, and what they did is they answered their phone. They said hello, and then as soon as the other person picked up, they put like like a like a cooking bowl over the top of it, and it's made of steel, and they just got a spoon. They just went ding 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 ding.
that would be fun. I need to do that because I get tons of them now.
Oh, and I mean, because the phone is now underneath that utensil, like cooking utensil, that bowl, and then that loud ding noise.
Now, those trolls are not as bad as some of the trolls we run into, though, and we can run into trolls in person too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have heard some horror stories of people going, and the thing is when you're going to something that is spiritual in nature, you're just gonna like there's like that unwritten assumption that everybody is gonna be nice. So like then you hear these horror stories of like people attacking, like physically attacking, and it's just like wow, like this happens, you know. So we
I
have
don't see, yeah, well there are some people in this world that think that they can just go ahead and swing at somebody, but they gotta keep in mind, they gotta maybe rethink that, because you never know, like you take a swing at somebody and then all of a sudden you're on your coccyx and it's shattered, and then you realize like, what the heck happened? Oh, that person you went at used to do cage fighting. That's me, by the way.
or like well my husband had a situation, somebody went after him in a bar in Europe, and he's a big guy, and he just put his fist out and the guy came running and his fist hit the guy's nose, because my husband's pretty tall and the guy that was going after my husband said he was probably 5 inches shorter than him, maybe a little shorter than that, but he's like, I just put my fist out. He's like, I was going to put my hand up, like, stop. But then he's like, I just decided to make a fist. The guy's nose went right into it and busted. Like, and again, my husband wasn't going like this. He just put his fist there and the guy ran into it, but it shattered not just his nose, but like the xiphoid bone right there. And he's like, if I punched him, this guy probably would have been dead.
Yeah, but I mean, if anything, it's just like, do you know what happened here? Yeah, but I just lifted my arm up just because I wanted to stretch my arm, and all of a sudden, he ran right into it. Like, dude, watch where you're going.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, yeah, my husband just said, he's like, I didn't want to punch him because I don't like fighting. He's like, if I have to, I will. And he's like, I wanted to stop him, but like he was coming with so much force. I thought, well, I'll just make a fist. And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, all right, at least I know if I'm with you, I'm safe.
Well, but that's where you tell him, like, well, congratulations. Not only did you get that reality check to not act like a twat ever again, you got a free facelift to remind you of that.
Exactly.
And I mean, heck, it's good to get a free facelift because you know how much plastic surgery is nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's funny, my brother had a situation that was the same, and actually my brother and the person attacked my brother started the fight. They were both arrested, and my brother ended up getting, like, he wasn't charged. He ended up not getting charged. Like, he was arrested, but then not charged, because then when they finished the investigation, they found out that the other person started it.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother, like, actually broke a couple of the guy's vertebrae, because he picked the guy up and just kind of threw him away. Yeah, because he was just like, no, like, because he's like, the guy took like 3 punches at me, and he's like, I was trying not to fight, and he's like, 4th punch was coming, I picked the guy up, threw him, and that was it. And he's like, I heard the bones crack.
He went in like over the moon, just like the cow went over the moon.
Well, and like that stuff happened, and well, now like there's cameras everywhere. That was the other thing that helped my brother, is there were cameras, so it showed the guy, you know. So granted, we're not like, these are pretty light, you know, those are like really worst case scenarios, but you know, I've even had my share, like,
one of my lives, somebody started it like mouthing off in the comments, so I muted them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were mad that I muted them because they wanted to discuss. They wanted to degrade me and my spiritual beliefs. And then they were mad because I muted them. And so then they went and did a nasty video about me and named my website. And I was like, okay, well now you're blocked. So, you know, and actually the cool thing I did with that one is I bound them. That's the thing, is you don't.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, you can't reverse that one either. So, I mean, I can say that I bound them, but I'm not saying how. And really, you know, that's the thing about when you hit somebody who practices witchcraft. We have spells to make it so that you will stop. I mean, there's like, I love doing the tongue spell, like people who gossip. That one's fun. Go get a cow's tongue.
This one. Oh God, this is so brutal, but I really don't care. It's kind of like what I like to call, well, of course, some people would be like, oh, wait a minute, you're an energy vampire? Well, yeah, because if you're able to take the negative energy off of someone to get them liberated from it, then yes, you can say I'm an energy vampire too. Because you got to learn, well, at least for me, you have to learn how to take the positive if you're going to take away the negative. But the thing is that I just don't go and suck everybody willy-nilly. Instead, I'm just all minding my business. Here comes a trolley fanboy or fangirl. Oh, you practice that? Oh, you're going to go in hell for that. Well, I'm already on fire, so what do you think? When you put somebody in a flaming environment, what do you think's going to happen when they're already flaming? They're going to be more flaming. Come on now, Cupcake. And just let them just keep going and going and going. Well, it's a sin. Well, actually, technically, sin's an opinion. Try again. Well, it's an abomination. Well, don't you think an abomination is something that's fairly unique? Because although it doesn't align with you, doesn't that give you an opportunity to try and learn and figure it out? And then there's my troll face, like, get wrecked. Because when you even like take something and you roll with it, then make them look like a joke, they just don't know how to swing or go about it. No. It's like, oh yeah, I'll let you have the stance, but you're gonna go back, and then I'm not gonna catch you.
Well, and it's funny because like I've had conversations with lots of people, and like my husband's the best. I know I say him a lot, but you know, he's like, these online keyboard warriors, they think they're so tough that if they would never say it straight to their face.
Yep.
They will say the most cruel, mean things, but if you actually met them in person, they would probably cower, you know? And yeah, they probably would, you know, but people can be really cruel. And I think that's the most important thing about this topic is there are so many stories, and it's really hard. It's like, how do you deal with these people? And some people will keep coming and coming and coming, and they just will not stop. And it's like, why? What did this person online did a post? What are they doing to you? It's like, what did they do that was so bad? Oh, the best. Oh my gosh, it just reminded me. So, I have a friend, and she's still my friend, but her mother friended me on Facebook. And for a while, she kind of disappeared and stopped talking to everybody, even her mother. And that was when her mother reached out to me and a couple of our other friends. And I knew they were from the Bible Belt area. I knew her from here, but I knew her parents lived down in the Bible Belt. And I had posted, it's the very famous picture of Jesus doing the Sermon on the Mount. And all the people around, somebody did the little comment clouds above. He says, love everybody. So Jesus says, love everybody. And somebody says, even the, and then derogatory term. And he said, yes, even the derogatory term.
Yes. And
then, you know, so it keeps going. And then it ends with even the LGBTQ community. And then under that one, Jesus is saying, do I stutter?
Did I stutter at all? Did you not hear what I said? Listen, everyone, hanky, panky, spanky, wanky, especially the ones you don't like.
Yeah,
All
and
of them.
I posted it because I'm so sick of people just being prejudiced. It's like we're all living things. We should have love and tolerance for everybody, you know? And so I post it, and so my friend's mother leaves this long response about how wrong and how blasphemy this is. And then she's like, I can't have my daughter be your friend anymore. And we're adults, okay? We're like, we've been adults for many, like almost 2 decades, right? I'm like, I think your daughter can make a choice on who her friends are. And I was like, wow. And it was hilarious. I left the comment up. The mother unfriended me. And it was a good thing she unfriended me, because the attacks she got from people that were, I was like, I have a lot of friends in the communities that were in this post. So they were like, what kind of person are you? You can't. Like, it was
like, whoa, pump the brakes there, Missy. What the heck are you talking about?
It was like, oh my gosh, I post one thing and all your prejudice just came right out. But you know, that wasn't as bad. And needless to say, the daughter is not friends with the mother because she does this a lot.
It's literally us. Literally us in response. Like, well, good. I'll keep doing my blaspheming, and you can take that.
I was in Chicago. I was in a witchcraft store one night and shopping, and there's a couple other people shopping, and a guy opens the door and yells, we're all going to H double hockey sticks. And we're like, see you there. It was just so funny. Like, most of us were like, see you there.
Yeah, I know. I know I'm going to some place where it's, lit. It's just like people are stating the obvious.
So somebody commented, uppies. You know what? They're trolls. It's that simple. You know, like when you have to judge other people like that, you're a troll. I mean, that's the only thing you can say. And sometimes I let people leave their nasty comments, and sometimes I delete them because I'm like, you're not worth it. And I don't typically respond though. I mean, I don't know how you do it, Bren, but I typically don't respond.
Well, then there's also this lovely way of also responding to them. Oh, that's such a lovely IP address you got there. Be ashamed if something happened to it.
Oh, okay. I see somebody else wants to join, so I will see if I can figure out how to do that.
Like,
You can request to come up. I'm trying to figure out how to let you up. You know, you would think I'd be able to do that. I think I invited.
There you go.
No. Yep, there we go. I did invite.
You did it.
Welcome.
Yeah. Yes.
But like what I was saying, like, if somebody throws a hissy fit at me, it's either I let them have it or I really mess with them. Like, you know what? That's such a lovely IP address you got there. Be ashamed if something happened to it.
Well, and people don't realize your IP address actually, you can get in a lot of trouble. So some of these people, with the things they do, they are borderline committing crimes that they can be prosecuted for.
Yep, that is actually, technically that would be cyber stalking, and that is considered, what's that called? Well, it's considered hacking, and doing any kind of form of hacking is a federal offense.
Yes. And I have like a relative that works for a state prosecutor's office, and they were like, yeah, you don't want to mess with that. You mess with that, that's not good.
Yep, and all it takes is one stupid little mistake, and if you have proof of it, you're done.
Yep, and everything's on the internet. Well, Linda, welcome. Do you want to share like a story? Like, feel free to share a story. We've been sharing stories, so stories of trolls. Not cute trolls like my cute troll, but...
Oh, I have one big story that it'll make both of you be baffled. So, few weeks ago, I went this one Christian live stream. This Christian host was like saying like, oh, but pagan gods don't exist. I'm like, let me just jump in the box and let me ask them, why did they believe in that? And then after that, I did my little I told them my little story about how my mom came back from the unaliving and all that, and they turned it into a revival thing. And then once they found out that I'm an eclectic pagan, they're like, "Why did you leave for Christ? Why would you do that? Your mom is like probably being upset with you because of that." I'm like, my mom doesn't really care, first of all. And she has her opinions, I have my opinions. She has her beliefs, I have my beliefs. We equal. We're like yin and yang. What they were trying to do, they were trying to convert me back to Christianity. Like, just keep on like throwing words at me and all that, like, and I was like, just proving my point about them, like, literally, I was like, you guys are literally proving my point, and how you guys react when people leave that faith and all, and they're like, oh, doing witchcraft is bad and evil and all that. You shouldn't do that because you're angry with people. I'm like, that's not what I do. First of all, I'm not that evil. Unless you want me to become evil.
I mean, here's another thought. God. Well, if you're trying to do that, you must be evil. Well, also, here's another thing. Why are you believing in a belief that's calling a queen like a whole horrific, vile woman, when clearly, honestly, she knew what she wanted, although the way that she went about it wasn't the most dignified, but she still fought for it, and she stood in her power, and she did whatever she could to get the throne and flaunt it. Talking about Queen Jezebel, by the way. So what you got against a strong, powerful woman? I mean, if anything, it'd be all like, wow, look at her go. But nope, let's hissy fit because she puts on makeup. Oh, the horror. Oh, the horror, she does cosmetics. The horror. Oh. Can't do it. Can't go on. Telleth my Father who be thy in heaven. I failed thee. Come on now.
The thing that's nice is when different religious and spiritual people can get together and actually have discussions and not like belittle somebody for their beliefs. Because we are all unique and we all have something great to offer to the world. But what does it serve to downgrade and belittle somebody? I mean, really, what are you doing?
Right.
You're making yourself look bad. Even I remember it was, I think I'd been out here for a year. So I came from the West Coast to the Midwest. And of course, when elections are going on and your kids are in school, the teachers like to do polls to see who, parents are voting for. And literally at dinner, my kids asked me, who are you voting for? Because they needed it for their poll at school. And my answer was the lesser of the two evils. And then we went to sit down and watch TV. And a commercial came on for the gubernatorial candidates that were running. And I'd been seeing commercials, but it was the first commercial, because there's always somebody who's going to attack the other person, right? Mm-hmm. And whoever does that, that's the first person, like right there, you lost me. There's no way I'm voting for you, because what I see is somebody who is a gossip monger and a gatekeeper. Like, you've turned me off. And so I turned to my kids and I said, that behavior is inappropriate. It's not okay for kids to do that kind of thing in school. It's not okay for your friends. It's not okay for family, but especially not okay when whether it's politics or whatever it is, it's not okay. And so my kids ended up telling the teacher, whoever doesn't gossip. My mom's saying, whoever doesn't gossip. But we see it in all aspects of life, not just our spiritual aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Bren, thoughts? I mean, like, trolls, thoughts, just dump.
Yes, and that is true, because the whole thing is like, if I'm going to be voting for somebody, why am I going to give a bloody crap if they're like, oh, you're not going to believe this that I dug up on them? Okay, but that doesn't tell me what you're going to be doing. What are you going to do that's going to be different? I get it. They pulled this woozy-wooness. Woo, kinkerdoodle. But what are you going to do? Tell me, what are you going to do? I don't care about your other political opponent. Like they're the best thing ever to throw a pie at. I don't care about that. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Linda, Dark Queen, your thoughts. And it doesn't have to be political. You can just throw them all out there.
I mean,
Trolls.
yes, thoughts and trolls. Yep. To be honest, I vote for whoever will keep our rights. Keep our rights and all that. Like literally, our rights is there for a reason. Like a lot of people has been fighting throughout decades and decades along the way to keep our rights and all that. Whoever can keep protection of our rights and I vote for whoever just will protect us and all that and not betray us.
That is important. I don't like when and usually the gossipers, they're the ones throwing the punches at groups and not protecting rights.
Mm-hmm.
Usually. I don't think I've seen, if somebody wants to show me something otherwise, please do. I remember, it just reminds me of I'm kind of threw out a challenge. So I had a history teacher when I was a freshman in high school. And the challenge was to find someone who was uneducated who led a war or a revolt. And she was going to give 100 extra credit points. And it didn't matter what country it was. It didn't matter. She's like, no one can show me somebody who did this. So I'm a freshman in college. I'm in a math class of all places when I was like, oh my gosh, it's Joan of Arc. So I run to the library. Sure as heck, Joan of Arc, uneducated, and she led a lot of revolts. So I literally drive to the school and she was in a different classroom, but I found her and I'm like, Joan of Arc. And she's like, I haven't seen you in years, and she's like, and what do you mean Joan of Arc? Because I walked in, I said hello, and I'm like, Joan of Arc. What do you mean Joan of Arc? Because I walked in, I said hello, and I'm like, Joan of Arc. And I'm like, you challenged us. And she was like, well, I can't give you that extra credit. And I'm like, but I got the answer to your question.
Oh my gosh. You want the extra credit. You want the extra credit.
She was like, yeah, she is actually the only one. And you are the only student I've ever had. And she's like, I've given that question for 15 years. And you're the only student. But you graduated a while ago.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, and it was funny because she's like, what made you come up with it? And I'm like, well, I was doing a math problem, and all of a sudden it came to me, Joan of Arc.
Yep, that is actually correct. She was chosen by the French to lead that, to be the leading force, and I think she was also canonized too, as well.
Yes, she was.
Mm-hmm.
And then burned as a witch.
Which is ironic. It's like you're canonizing her now, then you're burning her as a witch. I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds like hypocrisy.
Well, even with Queen Elizabeth the First, all right? Mm-hmm. So, yes, Anne Boleyn had some influence over Henry VIII, leaving Catholicism and starting his own Christian church. But, the Catholic Church actually had hits out on Queen Elizabeth I. They had priests trying to unalive her. And it's church. What happened to the New Testament and Jesus telling you to love everyone?
Right. Because she was
in the text it says, I don't think there's anything ever in the text saying thou shalt put a hit on thy opponent and have them be bucket kicked. I don't think there's any verse that says that.
No. Yeah. Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, because Queen Elizabeth I was Protestant, Protestant? Can't even pronounce it, but... Yeah,
Protestant.
Just like her mother was as well. Because during that time, it was her sister, Mary I, which is Henry's and Catherine of Aragon's firstborn. She was a devoted Catholic, just like her mother. She wanted to make sure that England be strictly Catholic, not Protestant, and they can just be strictly just Catholic. But that's what led Mary to her downfall throughout her life, because she wanted to make sure that everyone be Catholic in England. Because of that, she unalived so many people who didn't want to be Catholic but Protestant and all that. And when it came down to her, but the slow end of her journey and all that, she actually jailed her own sister, which is Elizabeth I, because she really was legit crazy and thought that Elizabeth wanted to unalive her. But she was like, no, like, I wouldn't do that to my own sister like that, you know? And then she wanted her sisters to go because right after when Mary was gone, she didn't have no heir. Like, yes, Mary finally got married and all, but then she didn't have no heir. And that means there was one more person that has to be coming in the position, and that was Elizabeth I. A lot of people back then was saying like, no, don't put her on the throne. She's the daughter of that Anne Boleyn, and then all that, and she had no choice, but she had to because she didn't have no heir. She didn't have no children.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And see, you know, when you think about it, those are like old trolls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they really are.
I love the Tudor stories because I was like,
I do too.
I love it. I just love it.
Well, you know, the most, like, this is like kind of off. I think part of the reason why a lot of Henry VIII's children had issues is because he was kind of a gigolo, I guess you could. Well, not a gigolo, but I mean, he was pretty free with his love.
Yeah.
And
Fat man that thought he could stick it everywhere.
yes. And you know, he actually they dug up the bones of Edward.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't king for very long, and they discovered that he had congenital, and I don't know if I can say syphilis. So I'm saying, I'm kind of changing the word a little bit, but I think you guys all.
I think I know. I think what you mean. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's like interesting because they do believe that all of his offspring actually had it, and that would make sense why there were so many miscarriages.
Yes, because and then some people think like, oh, because I think like these TV shows. There's one TV show I think it's called Rain, not Rain. Some other kind of TV show. It might be the Spanish Princess on the story on how Catherine Aragon met King Henry and all that. In this one TV show, they showed that the reason that King Henry VIII was getting no sons from Catherine of Aragon was because of, I think, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, I think, is someone in his family line was involved of an unaliving of two princes in the tower.
Oh, that's actually a very interesting story too. If anybody's ever had the inclination,
they made this in the in the show that because of her involvement with the two princes in the tower, it turned into a curse that made her entire family line not give sons. And that curse went on to Henry. Whenever he tried to get a son from Catherine Aragon, it was always a miscarry. Same goes for Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn was trying to get a son for Henry VIII, only gave him a daughter. Same goes for that. But then it kind of stopped when after that, when Edward was born and all that. But then for the rest of Henry's wives, like Anne of Cleves, Henry didn't like her because of the way she looked and all that, and he'd been deceived and all that. Which makes me mad because I'm like, what the heck? Anne of Cleves looks literally beautiful in her portraits, so okay. But then
look at Henry VIII.
yeah, I'm sorry. Like if Henry Spirits was like right there, right next to me, staring down at me like, why are you talking bad about me? I'm like, you did bad things in your time when you were alive. I'm sorry.
Yes, so I guess we could call him one of the first. Like he was very interesting. But I'm gonna like I know we have fun. Like boy, we could almost do like a history night too, because there's lots of very interesting history when it comes to spirituality and royalty and all that fun stuff. But trolls, trolls. So let's talk about the best way to deal with them. I mean, I personally, I try to just ignore them. Cause it's like, I mean, yeah, sometimes I will come up with clever things or, I mean, like the other night we had somebody in, yeah, just Tuesday, Bren, we had somebody in who was trying to tell us to go to church.
Oh.
You know, and it's like I go to church every day. I walk outside. My church is outside. So hey, you know, I'm in church every day. So don't tell me to go to church. But Brent, what are some of the ways you like to deal with trolls, whether they're online or in person?
Well, for me, I like to just let them have it, but with a twist. Like, for example, probably the best one is like, well, what you're doing is a sin. Well, you know, sin's an opinion, right? And your opinion doesn't matter to me, right? Because it's your opinion, not mine. So, toodaloo. Or another one is like, or they're trying just so hard to just like get to you and like just completely throw you off kilter. And you just get that urge and then it just breaks and you just say, you know, love, I understand that you really want to be important right now, but now's not the time. So stop trying to be important because you're not right now. Toodles.
Well, and they're not important. So Linda, how do you like to deal with the trolls, whether in person or online?
Well, when it comes to online trolls and all that, because I get a lot of them whenever I be online. You can ask Bren. Like, I get a lot of people in my life saying, repent, repent. I'm like looking at them on my live stream, like, have a Lucifer day. And they'd be like, I rebuke that. I'm like, I'd be laughing on the other side too. I'm like, oh gosh. But I just block them and just yeet them out of there and be like, skadoosh. Be like, Kung Fu Panda be like, skadoosh.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like, I understand, like, you know, we all have our opinions. We really do. And, but everybody's belief system is their belief system. And trying to force yours and spoon feed yours to somebody else is not gonna, it doesn't help. It actually creates problems. So why create a problem when there's nothing there?
Yeah.
And especially I just don't understand. Like some of these people, that's all they do. You know, like people who catfish. You know, it's like, why? What are you actually getting from it? Now, some people do catfish and try to scam people for money, but some do it like to make people fall in love with them. You know, and like how heartbreaking is that? Because then you're literally hurting somebody like to the core. And like, why? Why are you wasting all of your time to do this to somebody?
Yeah, those catfishes be really, really crazy. But then after that, sometimes in my live stream, people be like, yeah, I give a Christian troll sometimes who want to be like rage baiting and all that, and I'm like, you're fun. I'm like, I always tell them, you guys are funny, and then they're like, oh, you know, you don't believe that there's gods and goddesses. I'm like, it's in your Bible, matter of fact. And they don't like that. They're like, where is it? I said, don't you read the Bible though? They say, but it's about idols, not gods. And I'm like, then why did he use the term gods and goddesses when he should have put idols?
Oh yeah, that reminds me. That commandment, thou shalt not have any gods before me. Okay. All right. Okay. Hold that note. Ladies, goddesses. Okay, you can go first. Oh, hey. It says gods. That's masculine. It didn't say anything about goddesses.
Yep.
Oh, you should have thought about that before you published it. Whoops. Minor detail.
Well, and when you look at it, like this week, we're starting a new book. We're actually doing The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. So that will be Sunday. We'll have that discussion. And, you know, goddesses have been worshipped for many millennials before Christianity even came around. But what I do find interesting though is that some of these people don't even know their own, like they sit and they attack your spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs, but they don't even know their own. Because I'll sit there and I'll see it happening and I just shake my head because I'm like, look, I grew up in a Christian church and we had to read the Bible over and over and over again. And I'll sit there and I'm like, wow, I could sit and point out in the Bible all the stuff they're violating.
Yep.
But what good is it going to do? Because like you can't really argue. You can't argue with stupid. I mean, I'm just going to say it.
Then I get comments like, "Yeah, the pagans should go." I'm like, really though? Like literally. I'm like, okay. First of all, that's pretty rude. I'm like that musical you hear on TikTok. That's pretty rude.
That was rude. Very rude.
Yeah. And I was like, because at this one Christian live when they were trying to convert me, I was like telling them like, you guys know that you guys are the ones who destroyed Poseidon's temple in Syria, and you destroyed a lot of temples of the Greek gods and goddesses around the world. And they're like, no, that was Catholics. I'm like, no, it was you guys. Because you guys came about in pagan turf. You came in pagan territory. Didn't like how they're worshipping these gods and goddesses that we know now. And destroyed their temples. And they're like, yeah, the good gods and goddesses or your gods you said that exist, they don't exist. And I'm like, they do exist. You just try to wipe them out.
Yeah, they don't understand. And actually, in order to convert in some, like, for example, in Ireland, they couldn't convert without making, like, the goddess Brigid a saint. And so there's actually pagan deities that are saints because when they would try to go in and convert and force out paganism, they realized, oh, we can't get rid of this because of the deities that are celebrated here. So we have to saint them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just like it when they try to be like, oh, that's not true. I'm like, yes, it is. Google it.
It is interesting. So when we're dealing with trolls, and I think like the hardest part is when we're dealing with trolls in our own spiritual practices.
Oh, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, like the amount of people who gatekeep. I had like a woman who wanted to argue with me about like moon rituals, and I just looked at her and I'm like, why do you want to argue about this? Because I was just like, what is this going to take? Fine, if you want to do your full moon ritual 7 days before and 7 days after, that's cool. That's you. That's I don't feel the new moon or the full moon ready 7 days before, but if you do, that's fine. But like that's the harder part. I think, I appreciate people who can actually sit and have nice discussions regardless of their religious or spiritual beliefs and not attack.
Yeah. Brent can tell you I've been through a lot in the spiritual path. I've been through a lot of people who want to dictate my path. And I've told Brent about it so much. And Brent always pops up in my life saying, who's throwing hands at you? Who I need to go after? And I'm like, Brent, people are dictating about my path and all that, and I'm getting sick of it.
Yep, that's me coming out of left field like, all right, who's being the twat head? Come on. Stand up. Who's the twat head? Oh, why are you being a twat head? Why? Why? You don't have a good reason why? Because your fate's different? Oh, that's adorable. Sit, shut face. Sit, shut face. Don't make me tell you again.
Because a lot of people, like some people, I have heard that some people be like, whenever I mention my deities, they'd be like, "Oh, you're working with too many." I'm like, so. And I told this to another group of practitioners, and they're like, "That's more protection than ever. That's more protection," and that's how I look at it. Because how many deities I have, I always told my friend who is like a Norse practitioner who is into the Norse path and all that, and me and him both agreed on something. He's like, "You have an army behind you. You have an army. Like these deities you have an army. Like you have a big army that would go straight in the front lines for you." And I'm like, most definitely so, because when I feel these deities around me, they always help me out with my whatever I need. Like, for example, Hecate and Lilith, they've been here to help me with my confidence. But then now, here comes the Celtic pantheon, which is the Morgan, and she came around since I left my old job and during my old job as well. I didn't know when I didn't expect that. I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, okay, welcome to my court, the Morgan, because I call my court with all my deities. I call it my spiritual court. So,
Ooh, I just hear the Morgan. I'm thinking, woo.
yeah, the Morgan. Everybody was like, "What happened? Is it that bad?" I'm like, "No, nothing's bad. It's just that she wanted to come in and show out and let me know that she wanted to work with me."
He comes in like, you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Morgan?
Yes.
We have things we need to fix. Yes, ma'am.
And she's a goddess who dealt with trolls. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me just wash their clothes in this red river real quick. Uh-oh, if you know that reference, oh boy. Let me get my fiddle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to welcome Azriel to panel. Welcome, Azriel.
Ezra.
Oh, I think you're driving.
Oh.
Oh, I'm barely finishing up, my day's work. Is one long day, extremely exhausted, both mentally and physically. But it's an honor to be here. Hello, Bren. Hello, Linda, and hello, Rowan.
Hello.
You just Moses last month here.
What's that?
Bren, what did you say?
I
Oh, I
said,
didn't catch it. I didn't catch
yes.
it.
I said, I haven't seen you since Moses last walked the earth.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I've been off and on here and there. You see me around. It's just that because spring kicked in, there's a lot of pest activity, so there's more work than usual, and now I gotta find a balance in time. What I took for granted, like freedom to be able to do these things, lives and everything, now is actually being taken away because the personal responsibilities. But hello, yeah, Moses said hello, by the way, when last time, when I last seen him.
Ah, well, good job for part of the Red Sea. You gotta teach me that trick sometime, Moses.
Hmm. Yes. So I have one headphone that's alive and the other one's unalive. I'm looking for the other ones that. Oh, here I found them in my pocket. But I'm saying, if just in case my reception drops, it's not because my reception is my earphones. So I'm actually gonna plug it in. But yeah, this is a good topic, and then I'm trying to remember as much as possible as far as the trolls. But I think last week I think Brent was gone when I stepped in for a little bit, and when we scrambled the word trolls, it's loot, like to steal, and most of what the trolls are They're there to either steal the essence of a being, the physical, the live, especially babies, like that one movie, The Labyrinth, and the little trolls, they wanted, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Labyrinth,
It's
they wanted to get the little baby, and that was, and
it's
David Bowie was the Troll King, wasn't he the Troll King?
Yes.
Yes.
that just made me think of like rearranging the word troll. Just use the same letters. It's a looter. It
Sure. There we go. That. Yeah.
doesn't have the er, but it has the r. Looter.
Yes, and that's the thing about it. So troll is a reminder, that they're there, to steal, and it's just like the other. See, I don't know too much of it. I just know, and I'm having aware of it. It's remember that story. Sure.
Oh, I think we kind of lost you, Azrael.
Mhm.
Right in the middle of like a good story too.
Yeah.
We're all like, "Where is he? Where is he?"
Yeah. I
I
was
don't
like,
know.
where's
There we
the
are.
plot?
Okay, we could hear you, Azrael. You're gonna have to start over. You said you were gonna just tell us a story.
I was about to leave to go get some popcorn, but I'm like, oh man.
Oh, no, no, not too much of a story. I was saying there was a story that I'm pretty sure all of us heard as kids. The story about uh, the goats, that were had to cross over the bridge. Remember, that story.
Yeah, and I'm trying Billy Goat Gruff. The Billy Goat Gruff story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know too much of it because I was maybe 9 years old, 8 years old. But what oh darn it! See, I open up my mouth now. I can't. I don't want to falsify, and I don't want to make
Yeah, Red Dawn's helping with the troll.
you
You
know.
pay tax, the tax to bust the bridge.
Mm.
Trolls were greedy.
Yes. So the trolls, are like that. You end up knowing from the individual. Whether it's of a unit, I'm not them or what.
Oops, I think we lost you a little bit.
Mm.
Yep, I think we lost you.
Mm.
So if that makes sense. So they. Oh darn it. Well, yeah. I'm still in downtown. I'm in downtown area, so maybe the area that oh, here we go. Okay, now my bars are up. Well, I'm close to the United Center, where the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, okay. You're by the United Center.
Yeah, I'm by the United Center right now, so I'm gonna jump on the freeway. And basically, I guess because they do televised events there, like the hockey and also the Chicago Bulls. There's a lot of radio transmissions going out right there because of the television stations and stuff like that. So the frequency, yeah. So Irish Red Dawn, I'm looking at her. Yeah, with the troll pay the tax. Yes. So basically, so loot, the extra word, or just like Brent said, looter, and that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to gain something, whether it's monetary or in the sense of computer age. Even when AOL was out there, you have these computer trolls, and basically what they're doing is trying to get our energy, and our attention, our fears, our trauma, exactly stuff. So it's basically the trolls are parasites, but these are actual beings that are out there that are not by ugliness, meaning they're all about what they could gain versus their appearance. So they could come in different shapes, um, and their agenda is just to gain monetary, or like I said, our energy essence. And in the sense of in these communities here, even on TikTok, there's plenty of trolls out there, and some of them are humans, you know. So I hope I could share. I'm just getting on this live. I'm actually very, very content, very honored to be here. It was a long, exhausting day. and this is actually something that I need. It's like a retrieve right now at this very moment. So if you allow me, Rowan, and everybody else to just listen in, and maybe as I listen in, I could get some downloads or actually get a refreshment in my mind of that story, and then I can actually delve into that story for you, you know. So, well, thank you. It's an honor.
Yes, you're welcome. Well, I'll just we'll go around. So I'll talk for a little bit, then we'll let Bren and then Linda, and then we'll go back to Azriel. So thank you for joining us who are joining. This is a spiritual safe place. So I do want to let everybody know that I kind of have a no tolerance for trolls, really, and so it's like a great topic to have. But yeah, if you start attacking people in the comments or anybody on panel, you'll get a warning before you're muted. Just because this is a spiritual safe place, and our practice is to have love and abundance of love and life for everybody. I did see like a comment. I don't want to miss this comment because it was like actually really good. Ooh, it's back there. Oh, yeah. So somebody, Nature, she put programming fear through religion and politics. And yes, I also wonder, like, sometimes, like, when I've seen trolls who have like attacked me, whether online or in person, a lot of times I really feel like sometimes I can tell it's like out of jealousy. Like they may want something that I want. Like, oh, I even have a situation. It was really weird and bizarre. And my Reiki master had gone through it too, because I met a woman and she wanted to go into business with me. I'm like, okay. Because I do have a website for those that don't know, and I sell my crystals and I go do events, and I'm a Reiki master. So I do Reiki sessions for people. And, she was like, oh yeah, I want to go into business with you. And it kind of started out like that. But then she wanted like all of my proprietary stuff, like everything that I've worked for, she wanted to take it. And then I noticed she was taking other people's things and trying to call it her own. And when I'm saying other people, I'm talking like big people in the community, like some of the bigger companies and everything. So then she started talking really bad about my Reiki master. So I was like, what is going on here? So I reached out to my Reiki master and I'm like, I don't like to gossip, but like something is weird about this girl. And she was like, oh my gosh. And literally my Reiki master says she shows up at my house saying she wants a Reiki session and then tells me she's supposed to go into business with me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I kind of cut the ties there, but I noticed like she literally would try to take what she could from everybody for herself. And I don't know what ever happened to her, because I was just like, nope. And my Reiki master was like, yeah, I cut ties with her. And I was like, thank you. That was all I needed to know. Because I was just like, why is she talking so bad about my Reiki master? Well, because my Reiki master was like, whoa, you're trying to steal my energy. You're trying to steal my ideas. You're trying to steal everything that I've worked really hard for. And so just like Azriel just said, they're looters, and they really are. Is it jealousy? Is it power? Is it control? Do these trolls what is the reasoning behind it? Does it matter if we know what the reasoning is? Bryn, what are your thoughts? Just like flesh them all out. Have fun.
Well, I'm one of those also that whenever I catch wind of somebody trying to be sneaky and try and take from me, I'm just all, okay, I'll play dumb. I'll let them think that they're getting away with it. Heh, heh, heh. And when they least expect it, whoop! Rug gets pulled out. And it's like, so Cupcake, I know what you've been doing. No. You're not going to go nowhere. I know exactly what you've been doing. And I'll give you two choices. It's either you give back everything you took, or you're going to wish you did. Which one? Yeah. I haven't had anybody yet go, well, what bad are you going to do? Don't give me ideas. But there is one in particular. Oh, boy. Let's just say, when you have someone think it'd be cute to take your phone and break into it, get into your emails, lock you out of it, and keep in mind those emails did have credit card information in them. So it's not really the best thing to get into. But when you have somebody do that, and then they decide to play their biggest role in the newest, world's dumbest people to exist, they decided to take that same phone that they broke into, put it on Facebook Marketplace, with my email still on the login screen, and then down below it actually has the person who posted it, their name front and center. It's like, wah, 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 wah. Uh-oh. Immediate screenshot that, screenshot that, yoink. Now I got that leverage. It's like, I really hope you're not going to do the wrong thing, because this is only a few inches away from an FBI report. And that's why, precisely, and I tell this with people all the time, if there's somebody that you're envious of and jealous because they have something that you don't, use that to inspire you to get it yourself. Don't be trying to yoink it from somebody, especially in a way where it's so sloppy that it can get you behind, bars for a long time. Yeah, I don't suggest you do that. Unless if you want to be behind bars for a long time because you just think it's a really smart way of trying to get away with something. But no, it's not. Yep, the sound effects, yes, that's the best part. Oops!
That's one reason we love having Brent around, because he's just got like this such a sweet personality, and he's so enjoyable to have.
Yeah, it's really amazing because
Yes. We have a very beautiful panel tonight, and everybody in chat, you guys are all wonderful. I saw some great comments, and somebody did bring up boundaries. Yes, especially this is why boundaries are really important for in person, but they are important for online. That's why a lot of those in the spiritual community, when we go live, we say it's a spiritual safe place. And I've seen Bren has been really good about if he sees somebody misbehaving, or Azrael, or even on Alien T's lives, we have to tell people that's a violation of the boundary, because we do have to create safe spaces, because there are people that want to steal our energy, that want to intentionally antagonize, and whatever reason they're there. We will never be able to stop them. Not that we're trying, we're just mind your own business, Linda, thoughts?
well, so pretty much I haven't seen no one try to steal my stuff, but and what I do in my practice and all. But I have seen people stealing people ideals and such like that. At my old job, my friend I thought was a friend, she would boss around people who would just do anything or nothing at all. Would boss around them, and she's already a team member and all that. She stopped bossing around people, but then after that she got to me. She got to me next and bossed me around and try to micromanage me. Because sometimes when I go to that job and all that, my mind goes blank. And I do forget sometimes and all that when my mind goes blank. I told her the first time to not micromanage me, and that was my boundary. I was like, no, please do not do that. I know what to do with my job. You don't have to tell me to do anything. You're not a supervisor. You're not in a higher up. And then after that, that's when I told the supervisors what happened. They said they'll talk to her. Here comes the second go around. She tried to micromanage me again around the holidays and all that. And I was like, can you not do that? Can you stop doing that? Just because my mind go blank, you decide to get into my bubble and be like, hey, do something. Literally, I can't help my mind go blank. Okay, I cannot help that. Then after that, because I told her the first time, I warned her. I said, hey, you keep on doing this, I won't be your friend, and I'll just move on from you. Okay. And after that second time she did so, I was like, okay. So I blocked her on each social media and all that. And then, what's happened next? During the event of the holidays over there at the old job, she wanted to pull a fiasco, a victim blaming, full of ego type of a deal. Be like, why you blocked me on social media? Why did you do that? I just wanted to send you some pictures and all that. And I'm like, because I'm getting sick and tired of you like micromanaging me. And pretty much she was like, well, it feels like you don't like me and all that. And I'm like, I literally just told you why. And I warned you the first time. And you didn't take heed from it. And I blocked you. And now you throwing a hissy fit at work. It was really funny. Because literally, during that time, I did a leave me alone spell. Because every single time I felt like I was getting eaten up with my own energy. And from that girl's energy. Because I felt like two little, you know how bats like scurry around fly around and all that? That's what it felt like with her energy. They're snapping at my energy. And I just felt like drained it all, and I couldn't do no protections of when I was at work and all that. And so what happened is that what I had to do, I did a leave me alone spell. It went kinda not good at first because that leave me alone spell I was trying to target herself, but then it went to her mother. Now, I don't know how it went to her mother. I was trying to aim for her, but then after that, it went to her mother. But then when she did that hissy fit at work, it kind of looked like that it went from her mother, bounced back to her when she did that hissy fit. So I was like, okay, so it did like a little bouncy thing type of a deal. So like, boink, boink, like back to the target. I was like, oh, okay. That seems okay.
It makes me think of like a game of pinball. Doink, doink, doink.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, like when she first announced her mom was in the hospital, I was like, huh? Did I do that? But then it went back to her when she did the hissy fit at work, and I was like, okay, now I see what's going on here. I need more effectiveness to it, because I needed a tag lock on her, because if I didn't have no tag lock on her, because all I did was her name, and nothing else, and which I should have did like either a picture or something that would be a tag lock to her and all that, and make sure the aim is right there, so it won't go towards anybody else around her, but it done its work, and casually right now she's still rotting away in my drawer.
Well, that's the nice thing about like those that practice witchcraft is like when we get a troll, we can bind them. There's so many different spells we can do to make sure that they leave us alone. I did like before we let Azrael have a turn. There was a comment that a lot of these people, it's an ego trip. Yeah, I do believe it is an ego trip. And sometimes I think it is them trying to control. Like they want to control you. They want to control and it's like, you will never control everything. You can only control your life. You can only control your beliefs. And when you like force yourself and force your beliefs and force this negativity on other people, it will backfire on you. Like that's just karma. Karma will backfire on you in bad ways. So like there's lots of, it is just really interesting how the trolls behave and everything. Linda, did you want to add anything else before we let Azrael have a turn?
Yeah. The so-called friend, she was jealous of not the supervisor, but the lead supervisor, but shorter, like never short position in leadership. I don't think it was Brent. So what happened is that she got jealous of her because she wanted that position. But when that position went to that person, they started to show their true colors, and I was just watching. I would just sit back and watch. Like, she will gossip about how her leadership skills was not good. She said that the lead does not have no backbone and so forth and all that. I was just sitting back and watching. That's all I was doing. I didn't say anything because I didn't want them to like drag me into it. But I just sit there and just like, man, how cruel is that? I thought we all supposed to be friends here. We're supposed to be a team, right? And that's why I said to myself, I could have told that lead what happened. I could have did as a payback, but I didn't because I didn't want to hurt her feelings and all that. And then after that, that same lead showed her true colors with me, and that's resulted in me leaving that job.
Yeah, Netrance said she was angry and bitter, maybe even hurt her self-esteem. It probably did.
Yeah.
And actually, that's like good that you bring up self-esteem, because I do think a lot of these trolls have low self-esteems. I mean, I've dealt with people who were like, I could clearly tell they were jealous because I went to college, and I've had that happen a lot. And it's like, I worked my butt off. I paid for like the majority of it. I had a few scholarships, and then when you're in college, I worked my butt off. You know, it's not easy to do. But it doesn't mean that everybody needs to go, because I know people who are like, I'll just throw out, I have a brother who didn't go to college. He didn't even graduate high school. He dropped out. He like hated homework and everything, but he's very successful and he's really smart. But also because like we were avid readers, so he reads a lot, you know? And so like I've ran into people who only have high school degrees and are utterly brilliant, but I also like this comment too, that trolls are programmed that way. In Trace's opinion, they know not what they do. You know, they don't know what they do, because we could sit and like literally point out you're behaving inappropriately and don't know what they're doing. They don't realize it. Yep. And it's only the power they think they have, and they are a miserable individual. They really are. Like, I have not, like, most of these people who are trolls are usually miserable. I totally 100% agree with that. I think about the ones who have like done things to me, and it's that hurt people. And when they're really miserable, they just want everyone miserable. Yeah.
And that's exactly what this coworker did. Like, literally, she wanted to make sure everybody was miserable, being jealous with the lead and all that. But yes, I didn't want to like spew out the gossip that she was saying behind the lead's back. I didn't want to, because I was like, why should I be the same level as her when I could just let karma do her thing in the long run? But yes, I did feel bad for this person, because her father passed away around before Halloween, because we were just getting ready for our shift and all that, and then we heard about her father passing away. And there's a lot of people who would like use family passings like as a grieving stage, but for her, she used this grieving as anger to get at people who has cared about her throughout her life and all that. And I really don't understand it. Why? Because I was there for her when her father passed away. I was like, here's my comfort. Sorry for your loss. I'm here for you. I'm only a phone call away, because she had my phone number. I had her phone number. We talked to each other for a long time and all that. We laugh. We joke about and all that. And yeah. And I was like wondering why she would like go at people, angrily go at people, because I knew she's like a dad's girl, because she told us about it, how she loved her dad. And I felt bad for her, because I was like, wow,
Me Trace said grief does that, and grief does do that, but sometimes I think there's a little bit more. It might be a trigger factor for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is just a great example of how we will deal with trolls in our everyday life, whether it's at school or work or even socially, like with friends. Heck, some people are married to trolls, you know, and or dating trolls. But you know, we can't change them. We just have to learn how to react differently to them, because sometimes it feeds them and it will bring us down. And especially, like, I know, you know, a lot of us were spiritually becoming more involved, and so it's harder when we're around that kind of negativity.
Yeah.
It's really hard to deal with it because we kind of feel it bring us down and we feel it drain us, like Azrael was kind of saying, like we feel that drain.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make it hard, especially like when you have to work with it or live with it. You know, that's hard.
Yeah.
So Azrael,
Yeah, I was really.
if Azrael's
Yeah.
ready, we'll let him have a little time, because
I'm here.
You've got a
I'm here. Well, I got off on Highland, so I'm on the streets now. But there's so much that we can share. And it's just like that story that I was thinking about it because I was trying to think of that story with the goats. But basically, usually with the trolls, the way to deter them is actually entice them by saying, you know what, there's bigger and better things that are ahead, at the very moment. So that's don't waste your time with what I got to share or take from me at the moment, and say down the road, or distract them with something else, because that's how they are. They're selfish. They're looking for something bigger, and they like to cheat. In other words, use the cheat codes where they don't have to put in the work. They are magical, and most of the time, the magic that they got is not even their own magic. Like it was stated earlier by Rowan. They siphon people's energy, siphon people's magic, utilize many things, but yet, advantage that they have is, unlike the individuals like us, if we put in the work, if we practice what we preach. And when I mean practice what we preach, is that through practice, everyday struggles, everyday examples, we can see what works, what does not work, and those practices and the discernment and the examples, like the spell that was talked about earlier. When you think about it, and I'm going to use metaphors, but it's a way for you to understand it. When we talk about individuals, and just like that spell that was sent out to an attended person, but it went to the mother, their vibration is called a resonance, and when we all vibrate at a specific frequency, let's say all of us are vibing together, so we are in the same resonance, just as people living under a house. No matter if they believe in the same things, they're under the same resonance, because there's the same family, the same individuals, the same vibration, because it's coming from the same home. So all of us, when we connect with individuals, like they always say, you are who you're with. That because we share the same vibration. So when you send out a spell, and I know we're not talking about spells and stuff like that, but I'm just giving you an example of the awareness, is that we have to be down to the T as far as details, because I've done stuff in the past where, yeah, I see mishaps, and then I try to tie it. I said, what went wrong? If I was specific on what I wanted to, but was I really specific? No, because the vibration can actually resonate with somebody else. And because they're an affiliate, you can actually attack the wrong person. And in the same scenario, it's the awareness that the individual that you are with, if an individual that you are with all the time is constantly bringing drama, trauma, whatever you want to call it, negativity. So every time the individual is bringing negativity, that negativity is already on that individual. And because of the simple fact that you are connected with the individual, I'm not saying that karma does exist or does not exist, but when you look at the big picture, hypothetically, put yourself in the shoes of the other individual. What if they sent something out towards you, and because of that vibration is familiar and cannot find that first person, it's going to find a secondary person because the resonance and the energy is there. And that's the awareness where, sometimes you need to observe, understand, give details, and understand that the key to a troll, and the same concept is give, not to become a liar, but sell the bigger picture. Sell the bigger reward, the bigger gift, the bigger treasure that the troll can get. And that's the thing about it. Sometimes when we are aware and we know we're dealing with trolls, we don't lie, we don't fib, but we send them otherwhere by saying, you know what, there's bigger things down the road. And you know what, instead of you feeding off of me and trying to gain what I got to share with you today, guess what? You can find me Thursday night next week at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And because I'm going to share with you guys something that you never share with nobody. And guess what? The troll's going to say, you know what? I've done my deed for today. I've gained enough. I'm going to wait for next Thursday. I'm hungry. And that's like the story of those goats. I'm not going to eat the smaller goat because the smaller goat had a good idea that if I wait for the brother goat, that brother goat's going to be bigger and more yummier and more tastier. So you leave them waiting, anticipating for the bigger reward. And that's what these trolls are. They're not caring of what they're receiving. They're just greedy. They want to be selfish. They want to know everything, entertain everything. But you, with a person of knowledge, a person with awareness, can know that you got the upper hand because you can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps ahead of that troll. Because the troll's only thinking of their reward. The troll's not thinking how it's going to receive the reward because it's anticipating it right now at this very moment. And that's the opportunity where us, when we're working with spirituality, esoteric, the occult, whatever we work with, our gift that we give ourselves is these journals that we have. Whatever name you want to call these journals, we have the ability to write things down. Not only write down the information that we got down as, you gave me a recipe to create something. Let's say a recipe to create a soup, a recipe to create my own banishing, spell or whatever, or even a recipe of individuals. This individual was treating me bad and this is how they approach me. We can, everything. We could journal every single interaction, and life gets so complex at times that we forget some things. Like me, I sometimes go shopping and I say to myself, I'm going to remember when I go to the store. And guess what? I left the store 3 times this week, and not one time this week I picked up what I was supposed to get. So you know what? I have to write it down because it's not us. It's not our mind. Sometimes the ego says, you know what? I will remember. And the problem is with so much information coming in, did I give myself time to relax, exhaust these things that I don't need? So that way my cup is half full. So that way I know what I need, and that empty space is telling me that I need this much of something specific. So it's called the awareness, and the awareness, when you think about it, where, and this was on a live that I was the other day, the awareness, think about it. Everything, it comes down to words and how we speak, because everything that we say is magic. And when we wear something, like W-A-R-E, it could be scramble, it's W-E-A-R. So as I am aware, I wore, W-O-R-E. In other words, I wear clothes, but once I completed and was done wearing my clothes, I wore the clothes, because the war is the W-O-R-D is the word. The W-O-R-E is the war. The action of actually completing the word. My action was completed because now after D comes E. I wore. And that's what I'm saying. So you got to find a way, and I'm giving this to everybody, where you can remember. That's why we tie a string on our finger, and they always said it. Tie a string around your finger, because that little reminder is what we need to do. And when we remind ourselves is that when we deal with trolls, like when we have to pay the toll because the troll's not going to let us, we sidetrack the troll because we are prepared for it. So we prepare ourselves to deal with these situations. It's called being proactive. We are active, yes, but always stay proactive, because your awareness will let you know that if I focus on crossing that bridge versus the opportunities of being aware, that when I'm crossing the bridge, there's many possibilities of sidetracks, especially those trolls that are going to stop me from reaching where I need to go. And it happens on a day-to-day basis. And you know what? If it ain't the monetary, like I stated, it's the mental. They want you to be stirred up. They want you to panic. They want all that because they're not receiving the energy in that way. They're receiving what you're going to do about it. How did she get through this? How did he get through this? I gave them all that they can have and they broke down, but I watched and observed and see what they did because they don't want to do the work. So they want to use you as an example to see how you overcome a situation. For that way, they're always dealing with those situations, but they don't have the answers to themselves. So you got to understand that our experiences is a gift to many because it's gold. You can't buy these experiences. Each one is so unique and so precious to each person that's experiencing it. I get passionate. I'm sorry.
No, that's the reason I love you. No, that's so beautiful, Azrael.
Thank you.
You want
Well,
to keep going, keep going.
well, I do want to, but you know what? I want to go inside the grocery store here, real fast, Jules. So I could talk, but I can't talk with so much, energy. If I have to be, I got to pick up something, for dinner because it's been a long day. I did. The girl behind the counter from one of the places, Starbucks, gave me some wraps, but I don't want the wraps for dinner. I want something else. I know it's late to eat, but I'm starving. But that's the thing about it, and the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is that journal. And like I said, it's don't think of it as homework. Every day we're doing something. Every moment we're thinking of something. And why let these diamonds, let's just call them diamonds, are gifts that are being given to us on a day-to-day basis. Why wait to a moment when you say to yourself, darn it, I knew it. Why didn't I act on it? Because see, that moment when that intuitive moment came and you just knew the answer to something, but yet you let yourself get so entertained by seeking everything else. Guess what? We became the troll at that very moment. We actually trolled ourselves. We robbed ourselves from an opportunity, an experience, a gain that would have been positive for us. So think about it. Sometimes the troll is us looking in the mirror and say, you know what? Why did I rob myself of that great opportunity that I had? I had it. I knew it. I should have done it. But you know what? I didn't listen to myself. And that's the awareness that I'm talking about. When we practice what we preach, we are aware. And once we are aware, we are actually wearing and we wore it. So today I went through the battles. I overcame these battles. But you know what? I wore this armor. The armor that I my shield and my protection was me becoming very aware that these trolls out there on a day-to-day basis, they come in all shapes and forms and colors. They could even turn into stones. The story's been told over and over. A troll could turn into stone. And when I say stone, think about it. It's not generally being stone like physical stone. It could be they can act like they're not even present. They can act like they're not observing. But you know what? They are watching you. They're observing you from a distance. So even if you don't see them, they're there because they just look like the surrounding around you.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. And actually, like with people on the internet, when they are, attacking, and I mean, I guess that's like the phrase we can use, when they're using words that are hurtful and harmful, they're going to be like, okay, they blocked me on this platform. Are they going to block me on this platform? Because they may hunt you down. They do that. And unfortunately, like we're going to deal with this as we go through life. And I mean, I found for me, and it took a while because a lot of times, it hurts and you're just like, why is this person trying to hurt me? We just have to let it go. And it's easier said than done because I know some people have a really hard time with it, especially and sometimes you might think of somebody as a troll because their energy just doesn't mesh with yours, or maybe they made a comment that you took offensively. If you feel comfortable, talk to the person. But some people we can't talk to because they are literally intentionally trying
it's that jealousy and that ego coming out. Let's see, flag people. Okay, we've got somebody to flag people. Yeah, and we have people, sometimes we do have to flag them when they are being mean. I mean, like, let's just face it. When it's that A word that Me Trace has in there, we have that out there. And I can think of a lot of different situations that I've had. So, and here we've got another comment. You cannot talk to a troll. No, you usually can't, because you're usually unable to talk to them. Oddly enough, I had somebody advertise for someone else on one of my posts that I posted that I was doing like a special for Reiki sessions for a month. And they advertised for another Reiki practitioner. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I messaged the Reiki practitioner. I didn't message the person who did the post. Come to find out, she literally apologized, and she's like, I'm so embarrassed. And the reason I didn't, energy wise, I was like, all right, this person's being a troll, but I felt like I could reach out to the Reiki person, because Reiki practitioners, we're doing energy healing, literally. Like, that's what we're doing. We're trying to make the world a better place by helping heal people. And she was like, oh my gosh. And she told me, she goes, yeah, I had a guy reach out and he said he would get me more business and he would help post for my business. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I hope he didn't do this to other Reiki practitioners. And I don't know if he did, but I actually ended up becoming really good friends with this other Reiki practitioner. She lives in California on the West Coast, pretty far away, but we ended up becoming friends. But I've also had where I've had people do that same type of post, but I'm not getting that energy. I'm getting like that negative troll energy. So I'm like, all right, delete the comment, move on. Because some of it, it's like, okay, we're not using my social media to advertise another business. But if you don't feel that energy to talk to them. But yeah, I did see that comment. Like, yes, there are a lot of people. I mean, I've been on panels where we're talking about, a spiritual topic like trolls, like today. And there have been people on panel that I've been like, I did not resonate with. Like, they've said things that I was like, okay, I'm not resonating with the person. And I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to let them say their piece. I'm not going to argue with them, because you can't argue with a lot of people. We can't argue with, because they're really set in their ways. And you guys all know what I'm talking about. Like, if you've ran into it, like, I was at a craft event, and the woman that had a booth next to me, I was selling my crystals, and then I have my magical oils that I make, and I use essential oils and herbs in them. And she was criticizing that I had herbs in my bottles. And I'm like, well, you do realize I'm pagan. And she's like, oh, okay. So then she kind of dropped it. But then she was telling people to ingest essential oils. And I had someone come over that knows me and knows that I'm like, it is not FDA approved. You are not supposed to ingest them at all. Europe is very strict about it. Their equivalent to FDA, is very, very strict on this type of stuff. Thank you everybody for the gifts. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I think it was Sophia that sent that. Thank you, Sophia. But it was funny, because then she had overheard my conversation with it, and it happened to be a friend who was also a client, and they bought a bunch of stuff for me. And then she wanted to argue with me about the essential oil thing. And I said, you are so welcome if that is your belief, to have that belief, but it is not mine. But I'm not going to argue with you about it. And that made her even more mad, because I wouldn't argue with her about it. And so we're going to run into that. We're going to run into people who we're never going to be able to have that meeting of the minds. And I have people like one of my dear sweet friends, he is Catholic, and we have some of the best conversations. And he's like, wow, and he knows so much about paganism and witchcraft. And because I was a former Christian, So we have like some really great conversations, and he's like, well, I like this and this. And we even sometimes sit and talk about Buddhism and Hinduism because we're like, oh, this is so cool. Like, we can have differences and respect people. We don't have to drain their energy. We don't have to, like, I love like how Azrael was saying, loot them. We don't need to loot, which is what the trolls are doing. So Linda, I'm going to let you like just spill the beans. Like, what are your thoughts right now? Like, we've had so much, and Azrael really like blessed us with such a beautiful download too.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I like how Ezreal put that out there. That's really, really amazing that he put that out there. My thoughts on this, I'm like, yeah, because literally, you don't, like, when trolls be trolls and all that, they expect to, like, you to fall into their energy. Sometimes you don't have to fall into that energy, because fall into that energy, they got your energy just right there. Because you're falling for their tricks and shenanigans and all that. And you don't need to fall for their tricks and shenanigans, because when you do that, you give them power. It's just like how energy vampires works, you know, the ones who like likes to take energy and all that. And yeah, because literally they just you got to not let them take your power, you know, like, you know, don't let them take your power. Like, cause I have like several things happen throughout my path and all that. Like, I had this one friend who was also a practitioner as well too, and I didn't know she was a energy vampire from the start. But then after that, cause she was trying to use my gifts, cause I have like clear feeling. My clear feeling has been really good lately so far, because I can feel energy, and I can feel what the energy feels, and and she will use that gift of mine every single time. Every single time she will wake me up like at 6 a.m. in the morning or something like that. Ask me, what does she feel? What do I feel about her boyfriend doing something what? And she kept on asking me the same question, and keep on asking me what I feel about it and all that. And so I'll tap in, and then, yeah. But I didn't know that she was usually use me as a sponge and all that. And I was like, hold up, why am I feeling tired? That's exactly because the one time I feel like so tired, I was like, I can't even get up. And I was like, oh wait, hold up. And then after that, I finally figured out, like, oh wait, that's what energy vampires do. They drain their targets. And that's exactly what she was doing. Because I didn't know what's going on, and why I felt tired all the time around her. And I was like, okay, time for the block button. I blocked her and all that. And I was like, yeah, you gotta go, because you were draining me from the start. And that's what happens when it comes to, like, practitioners who doing, like, free readings and all that on here and all that. Like, free readings is really good and all, but then after that, when people keep on asking, especially friends too, we have friends and all that, and they will ask you for free readings, give that person that gateway to use you just for that. And if you can't do no more, and you tell them to stop and do something and leave you alone and all that, they get mad at you and be like, well, you said you'd give me free readings, and I want to get my free readings too. Like, you know, like, yeah, like, that ends up like being used and all that. And I don't like when people do that to their friends like that.
And a lot of people do, unfortunately. And again, they're the trolls. And I like how you pointed out that your experience, you dealt with somebody and they made you tired. I noticed that myself. And I know, like, at one point, and I've talked about this, I was in a dark place. I had gone through like some pretty bad trauma, and I was like right in the middle of it. And when you're in the middle of it, a lot of times, like the people that you attract to your life end up being trolls. And I realized they were starting to make me tired, some of the people that I had attracted. And now it's like, if I'm around somebody who exhausts me, that's a big sign for me. You know, and we do have spiritual gifts, and sometimes, you know, if we get just slightly off balance, and we may not realize that they're literally like draining us, and it's like that big sign, like you can tell yourself, wow, I went to lunch with this person and I feel so exhausted, like I've gone days without sleeping. You're around a troll, you know. Because some of them are pretty sneaky, and some of them are not going to just flat out, like, just be downright mean and critical. Some of them are just, they're just going to drain your energy to where you're just exhausted.
Because I was like, oh, I'm feeling so tired for it. And I was like, oh, wait, this person keep on asking me to do readings for them with my gift and all that. I'm like, I should have known.
Yes, and Trace said, learn to say no. Yes, that is the boundary thing. And I know, unfortunately, I think a lot of people are people pleasers, especially those that end up getting trolls attached. And it is really hard because, like, it's hard to say no.
Oh, yeah, because I've been there too, from a people pleaser. But then after that, when I got with the deities I'm with now, I'm like, yeah, no. My answer is no.
Yep. Yeah. And we do have to say that. We do sometimes have to say that. I know, like, one of my tarot teachers, she was telling me that one of the first events she did an event at somebody's house and had all these people, and she did it for free. She did it for tips, but nobody was tipping her. And she said, I was there for 4 hours. I was so exhausted. I did so many readings, and I got maybe $1. I even actually just recently, somebody was like criticizing that people in the community that do tarot readings and rune readings and teach classes like charge for it. And it's like, well, I take classes and pay because, like, teachers are actually studying this and coming up with writing their classes. And it is an exchange of energy. And I teach classes too. And I've had where, I have like a palmist, and he's read my palm a couple times. And I've exchanged Reiki sessions. I mean, if there's an equal energy exchange, regardless of if it's money or you barter for a different good or a different energy exchange. But yeah, like, and some trolls they take advantage of people, and they want everything for free. Those grifters, the grifty trolls. Trolls come with all sorts of things.
Oh yeah, because literally I was like, because me and my friend was talking about deities and all, and my friend was like, girl, I know you're an eclectic witch, but you're more of a deity witch because you're much more into deities more than anything else and all that. I was like, that's true. I was like, yeah. And then she was like, yeah, literally you're into deities a lot more. Like, you have a knowledge of them. Like, you like to like get on that computer, type up that deity's name and look them up and look at anything else on that specific deity. And that kind of inspired me on doing this one prompt that I do every now and then. I do like deity work 101 for people who is getting into deity work. I was like, let me just use my talents with this to help others to understand with the deities and all that, you know, because I'm like really good at that. And I also have been like doing like mini series of doing different type of deity type of profile pictures on my TikTok and all that. Like, as of right now, you see Lord Dionysus, the god of grapes and grapes and festivals and all that. And because I always put like different deities on there, like Dionysus, Lilith, all sorts of deities, and honoring them. And that's been like my strong point in my path is doing deity stuff. That's my strongest point right there. And I'm like, wow, maybe I should like start teaching about deity work.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. That's one thing I love about spiritual TikTok is that I learn so much from so many people.
Me too.
And so I think it's like, yes, we may have to deal with a troll here and there, but knowing like the easiest way to do it. Like I like to just say, you know what, ignore. I'm not even gonna like. I also don't like confrontation, so I don't even like to fight. So it's like, yeah, not gonna happen. But yes, and I
do the gatekeepers ones too. Be like, oh, you can't work with that deity. That deity is closed. Look at them like crazy. Like, then why did they came to me though? Why did they came to other people if it's closed? You know.
So I'm going to do a quick reminder. I want to thank everybody for the hearts. We're at 1.3K, and thank you so much for all the gifts for actually everybody on panel tonight and myself. Gifts are always appreciated, never expected. Very, very appreciated. And just so everybody knows, I will be live on Sunday, and Sunday is Witchy Book Club. We are actually discussing The Spiral Dance by Starhawk, and this is chapter 1. So every week we're doing a chapter, so we'll be doing The Spiral Dance by Starhawk for 13 weeks, starting this Sunday. And it's been a beautiful refresher. Actually, Linda, you're talking about deities, and it's bringing the goddess back into your practice and into your life. And it's been like, it's literally been probably 11 years since I read this book. So it's been really a nice refresher to be reading it again. So please feel free to join on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday is Tuesday Tarot. Bren and I do readings. Sometimes Azriel joins us. But we do one card tarot readings or oracle card readings, depending on the question.
Yeah, I've been doing like my own like tarot stuff too as well. I've been really scary accurate very much throughout my path when I was doing tarot readings as well. Because I was doing a tarot reading on one of my friends, and they're like, whoa, Linda, you're scarily accurate. How you know about that? I'm like, it's for cards. Intuition.
Yes, I had somebody ask. I was going to grab the book and bring it down and hold it. I think it's the book. Let me trace. Is it the book that you wanted to know? Yes. Okay. Yep. I will type the book in the chat for everybody. And actually, I had brought up my friend who is Christian, and we have beautiful discussions, and I was telling him about Witchy Book Club this week, and he was like, oh, that's my favorite witchcraft book. So, you know, like it's really cute. It's cute how many beautiful people we have out there.
It's really good to see some Christians are really interested, like, yeah, like they want to see what we believe in and see what goes on behind the scenes, you know.
Yep.
And most likely I'm like, I like open-minded Christians. Like, you know, they'd be like, always wanted to know, like, why you believe in this, or like how that makes you feel and all that, you know, like educational type of questions, like educational, like a curious question type of deal. And I like those type of questions I get.
I'm at the store now. You know, first I want to thank everybody, you know, for the gifts. And I appreciate it. Much love and gratitude. But yeah, you know, oh darn it, it slipped out my mind. What were we talking about? The Christians, you know, individuals like that. You know, you know, you have, and I'm not saying you as one specific person. I'm talking at the collective, everybody here. You know, we're aware that nobody likes to be pressured. Nobody likes to be control in making their decisions. So some individuals are, you know, and I'm saying it's everybody. Everybody's willing to accept anything, and that is possible. You know, have to allow them to in it and on their own pace. We can't force things on anybody because nothing works. Especially relationships. Whether you have a friendship and let's say you feel real intimate with, let's say, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you want to rush the relationship, but yet, the other individual is only thinking about friendship because that's where you guys started. You can't force a relationship to become something that is not. In the same scenario, when we're talking about beliefs, individuals have their own beliefs, and sometimes they're brought into those specific beliefs. And it's up to them to wean themselves out of those beliefs on their own. When we try to force it on them, then that's when hostility occurs, and that's with everything in this world. A lot of these conflicts around the world are because one person doesn't believe on the other one and they want to impose their beliefs on somebody else. But when we embrace friendships and individuals that are on the same vibration where we can have,
Oh, you still there? You're fuzzy, Azrael.
we can gain from one another because we're both open. Oh, I'm sorry, I think
Fine
because
now.
I'm passing.
You're good now.
I'm in commute, almost home, but it's essential, communication and understanding individuals. And excuse me, but Rowan knows me better than a lot of these individuals. And one of the things, I do practice occult magic. I do practice with deities and all this stuff. But most of the time I keep it quiet because I don't want to scare people away. And know that I might have a dark side. And when I say dark side, doesn't mean it's an evil side. But I'm very open to the mystics, and so much esoteric magic and stuff like that. But the thing about it is me learning from the examples of others and also my examples is the purpose of why we're here together. We are here to learn from one another, but yet also bring out the best of the other individuals that are there to listen, because you know what, I might be able to learn something from you in the future. For I can plant the seed in you, and you can say, you know what, I like that, and you work with it, and you actually found your forte. You found the gift that you were missing. You knew you had it with you, but it might have took me, Rowan, or Linda, somebody in the comments to actually say, you know what, that's the spark that I was looking for. And that desire will actually elevate you to a point where now you're going to reflect something that I might have needed. And we all complement one another when we're able to hold discussions like this with positive.
Oh, you cut out a little bit.
We're not here to threaten nobody with no beliefs, no nothing. We're here to be that next niche, that next cut, that next buff on the diamond that we are. We all gems, and we're rough right now. But every day that we allow ourselves, we're becoming more brilliant and more brilliant.
Yes. And you know what? We may have all been trolls at some point. And it is a matter of like making sure we keep ourselves safe from the trolls, because they can bring us down. And heaven forbid, I don't want somebody to get like a low self-esteem or be sad because of it. So we have to like let it go, and everybody's going to have a different way to do it. I've seen like, some people are just like my husband. He's so funny when like somebody like trolls him. He always has like just the funniest comeback, and it makes me laugh. And I'm just like, it's not even worth my time. And so we all are going to have a different way to deal with the trolls. And hopefully like the best thing we can do is just hope that somebody who is trolling people, whether it's in person or online, that they will one day figure out that that they are valuable, that they need to have a self-esteem, and that they can join us. They can join us in this beautiful path and appreciate one another.
I agree with that. And I want to chime in real quick because, you mentioned, something, and, and it's vital. And think about it. We're all energy sources. And not every, let's call it, thing in your house you need. Let's say there's iron. You're not going to leave the iron on 24/7. So that means you have to unplug it. Don't give it the energy. It will never get hot, and it will never burn something accidentally. And that's the thing about it. If we know and have the awareness of the troll, the troll, all it wants is your energy, and it doesn't matter what form it comes. So don't entertain it. Out of sight, out of mind. If it's there, don't engage with it. In other words, don't plug yourself into that channel. Allow yourself to be in the presence of it. It's like in your home. You have the iron in your home, and you know where the iron is. You're observing it. Don't entertain it. In other words, don't plug it in. Don't plug yourself in it. Just like the story of vampires, if you welcome it, it's gonna be there. But don't welcome it, and when I say welcome them in, you can acknowledge them and say hello, but don't interact. In other words, observe from, and just watch. Observation.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
And one more thing, and don't take anything personal.
That's the hard part. I mean, and I'm speaking from, like, I think, it is hard, especially like some people who are empathic have a harder time than others taking things personally. And it's okay. Like, if you have like a safe person to talk to, if you don't feel like you have anybody safe to talk to, journal it. It helps so much. I love to write it down and burn it. Like, if somebody hurts me, I love to write their name down and burn it, because it just makes me feel better. Like, so-and-so did this and it really upset me, and then just burn it. And then it's like, boom, let it go. Like, that's literally like how, like, one of many ways that I let things go. But it is hard. It is hard not to take it personally, but yes, try to not take it personally. Because hurt people do hurt people, and they have, for whatever reason, whether they're jealous of you or they're angry at everybody in the world. I mean, we don't know, and we will never know. And we just have to be able to just take the higher road. Like Trace had quoted, which comes from the Bible, like, they know not what they do. They know not what they do, even though it's like easier said than done. But they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, just like for me, I was born with a humble heart, and I could be a nice person, really sweet and really kind, and that's my main weakness. I'm really too nice. And a lot of people had took advantage of that niceness of mine, and pretty much I was like, should I just be mean and all that? And people around me like, no, be yourself. Don't be mean for people who want to like take advantage of you, because they know that they're in the wrong for doing that. And I'm like, okay, I'll be myself. And that's why my mom, she cheers me so much because I have a humble heart. She's like, you are never a fighter. You are just humble. You're never a fighter. You're a humble. Yes, you can have a mouth that will go off like a firecracker when it comes to your friends and family and all that. But you're humble deep inside, and you don't fight. You don't be loud as ever like other people would. You be silent. You be quiet. You just be observant. You can give a crazy look. You can give a crazy look like, what the heck?
So I hope everybody's learned something great tonight. I haven't decided what next Thursday's spiritual panel topic will be, but the panel, just so everybody knows, it is open. So I will come up with something and announce it at Witchy Book Club, so that you kind of have a couple days to think about it. So, and I am live Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to wrap up and say goodnight to everybody. So I'm going to let everybody on panel just say their good nights. So Linda, anything else you want to add and just say your good night, and then we'll go to Rio.
Yeah. Nothing on importance, but for my good night, I'll say good night and have a mystical night or day, and let the gods and goddesses bless your day.
So sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming up on panel. I hope you come up on panel again.
Yes, I will surely do so.
Yes. So I'll think about next week's, and maybe you'll be enticed by next Thursday's topic too. All right, Azriel, your turn to say goodnight and any wrap up that you want to give.
Geez, I don't know. um, let's just say it. Okay, so we're all on our unique journey, and a master is weighted by his words, and his words are his journals, and these are things that you can pass down to generations in the future. So whether it's just writing down just your memories and your experiences, or your spells, your words, your magic, you know, I say, no matter where you're at, always take notes. Take notes and remind yourself who you are, what is your purpose in life, and how you want to be remembered. And your book, your journals is your story, and that's your life. There's going to be people in your life that we at one point or another wish that we told them we loved them and we care for them. But you know what? You leave them that gift because it's always in that book. And somebody will relay that message to them one way or another. And with that, blessed be. Everybody have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Azriel. Yes, thank you everybody on panel, and thank you everybody who joined. If you joined late and you want to watch the replay, I do post the replays on my YouTube and my Patreon. If you're not following anybody on panel or myself, please don't forget to follow us. Thank you so much for all the hearts and all the gifts tonight. Gifts are always appreciated, never expected. In my bio link is how you can find my Patreon and YouTube. And I will be back live here on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. It will be Witchy Book Club. And the book we're just starting this one, Spiral Dance by Starhawk. We're just going to be discussing chapter 1. So, as always, everybody, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.